want to talk about getting a little eclectic in your
eclectic
space.
design.
And this is going to be a big theme for 2015, but I don't want people to think that means you just throw every old piece of something in a room, slam the door, and call it a day. I'm eclectic.
Amen, amen,
That's
amen.
not how you do it.
That's the one thing with eclectic design is it is a huge trend. It has in 2014 was already being introduced, and in 2015 it's going to be huge. The big challenge with this is exactly like you say. We don't want it to look like a big old mess. Like we just put everything together. So as easy as it seems to be to do, because it seems like we can really kind of do whatever we want, it's probably the most difficult design concept to kind of keep within the rules.
I agree, and I can see that because you're not going matchy-match.
You're not going matchy-match, and that's a great thing about it. So that is definitely the great thing about it. And you know, I'm going to do some tips and rules, some really easy tips and rules that you can kind of follow, and if you follow those tips and rules, any eclectic design will really come together nicely.
Okay, rule number one.
Rule number one, let's talk about mismatched furniture. Yay, mismatched furniture. Like, wow, mismatched furniture. Love it, love it, love it. So we went to LT. Everything here is from LT. And you know, the nice thing about eclectic design is, yes, I can go to a place like LT or I can go to any of the stores and I can kind of pull that style together. But the fun thing, or the fun part of it is being able to pull those pieces we have at home from our families or from whatever and kind of do it that way. So eclectic design is such a budget-friendly way to make a great space if you have those pieces or if you have the time to actually go out and find the pieces. So let's talk about the mismatched furniture. We started with this gorgeous Art Deco credenza, and this was kind of this was the jumping off point. It's beautiful, it's walnut, it's thick, it's chunky, and we wanted to make kind of like a conversation area, so we chose 2 chairs, but if you notice, the chairs are mismatched.
I know.
The one thing, though, that is similar in these chairs, and this is kind of going to be the tie-in, is the scale and proportion. So when we're talking about eclectic design, scale and proportion is a huge thing that we really have to kind of be conscious of when we're choosing the pieces that we're choosing. The other thing also is in the chair that you're standing next to, Tracy, it has a little bit more of a texture, a little bit more of a design to it. So this is almost like a velvet or a faux suede. That's a little bit more textured. But again, even though it's 2 different styles, this wingback is a totally different style than that mid-century piece. The scale and proportion keep them similar, keep them the same. So it's kind of a story that we're telling. It's a similar story that way.
Because if this was really tiny and different and that was big and different, it would be like, no.
There would be no balance.
There'd be no balance.
There'd be no balance.
About the same scale.
Let's talk about quirky finds. So this is my favorite part of eclectic design, because quirky finds are, you know, how many of us, I do for sure, in my condo, in my locker, have it's like I don't even know what's going on in there. I can go in there and I can find so much stuff over the years that I've collected. And this is a space where to be able to introduce those quirky finds. So we talk about upcycling all the time, upcycling and repurposing. This is the perfect design concept to do that. Because what this, for example, is a bar essentially, but I'm using this as a library, as a credenza, or something that I can actually, you know, kind of get to from these chairs that I'm doing here. Repurpose, absolutely a way, this is the perfect spot to do it. Let's talk about texture also in eclectic design. Any room, even as many layers that you're going to do in a room, if it's not texturally, if there's not different textures in it, it can be very flat. So it's really important to be able to introduce different textures into a space like we've done here. So we have kind of like this really soft material on the chair where that's a little bit more of a nubby feel to it. We brought that soft material into this great ottoman also, but it has the tufting in it. So again, we've added even another layer. The big thing here is, if you notice the rug and the wall color, so that's a real pop of color there. And in everything that we've done here, it seems a little bit Art Deco, maybe a little bit mid-century. The color is totally off and totally different from all of that. But the tie-in is this Hollywood. Everybody was coming into the studio this morning, and the one thing that they were gravitated to was this amazing artwork from LT. So it's this almost sepia tone, but it's a rose sepia. And it pulls into this super contemporary piece of art and ties everything really nicely together. So the one tip when you're choosing artwork for an eclectic design is, yes, you see they're all different types of artwork, but there's something tying them all in together, whether it be the gold, whether it be the rose sepia, or whether it be the foliage that you see in the prints. So there's a tie, all the different types of artwork, the tie-ins are all there. Now there are a few more tips, and of course we never get to them all.
I know, because you're so thorough, which is great. I still don't feel confident enough to do this.
Really?
No, I think that if I want to go for an eclectic space, I'm just going to pick up the phone and call you.
Yeah, you know what? I'm there. I am there.
I feel like mine would look like a junk house.
It's going to be on one of those Instagrams. She puts up these pictures of food at her house, and I'm like, I'm coming over. I'll be there in 10 minutes. Make sure that it's one of those days.
It looks beautiful. I love what you've done with the space. It's
Thank you.
gorgeous. You went to a beautiful event recently. You're all about town all the time. It's called Monogram Dinner by Design. It was at the Design Exchange, and we were there as well. So take a look.
Patrick, what a great party in support of Casey House and the Design Exchange. Amazing design tables here.
Yeah, and I've already seen some beautiful ones.
There are actually 11 in total. Each one is designed by a different either design house or architect from Canada. And I really want to start with this guy here.
Well, look at the tablecloth, first of all.
Amazing. So this is designed by Hariri Pontarini, and the tablecloth is actually felt, and the stitching is representative of the AIDS quilt from a number of years back that we're all familiar with.
Well, it's a beautiful design as well. These hearts above you, brass?
Don't you love these? And yes, you are right, they are brass, which is a huge trend in 2015.
This table looks good enough to eat.
It's funny that you say that. This table, Patrick, is by Castor, and it is actually melted down and then petrified maple sugar.
Wow, I love the look of it.
You know what? It is taking absolutely everything in me right now not to lick this table. But what I really love about it is the fact that it's translucent and the light passes through it. It's a really interesting design detail.
Certainly is. You know, it's sweet.
I was totally waiting for that one.
How is this for the ultimate romantic setting? Roses hanging from the ceiling.
This space is stunning. It was designed by Candace and Allison, and it is their interpretation of an intimate dinner party hosted by none other than Truman Capote.
Wow. And check out these chairs.
Aren't they fantastic? So I would much rather see my face on the back of a chair than my name on a name card. And speaking of whimsical design, hand-painted plates, right down to the lipstick marks on the glasses. But don't worry, it's not mine, it's not my color. And finally, at the end of the night, you had one too many. Look up, you got a garden to look at.
Perfect.
Oh my gosh, that is so beautiful. Please welcome Suzanne Dema, Editor-in-Chief of Canadian House and Home Magazine. So good to have you, Suzanne. So we're all dishing on these tables because they're so fabulous. I know you're seeing them for the first time. What do you think?
I think they're amazing. I think this event is incredible because it's for such a great cause, and people go all out to make this amazing experience for people when they're there. And you can actually eat there, so for the party.
Yes.
You can actually eat the table.
Eat the table too.
You can eat the table. You could lick that table, and it's okay.
That table was awesome. So there's a funny story with that table. It's petrified maple syrup.
Yeah.
And as we were filming, Patrick was in front of me and I was behind. They kept saying, go around to the table. And I was standing by the bench, and as I'm standing there and I'm walking, all I hear is crunch, crunch, crunch. And I stepped on the bench and all the maple syrup started.
You broke the bench.
So I broke the bench. I broke the bench.
You broke the bench.
I didn't pick any up and put in my pocket to eat it after, I swear, but
You
it
left
was
it all
good.
there.
It was
I heard
good.
that parts of it started to melt a little bit.
Yes.
That's what was happening.
Yes.
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 That's why
Some
you
people are
can't
sticky.
necessarily buy furniture at home that you can eat.
No.
But it is very nice for a show. And
That was
all the
awesome.
fun's going to Casey House, I
Yes,
believe. Yes,
yes.
beautiful.